Greetings and welcome to the show, 5 Minutes of Wellbeing with Vasilis, on Mental Wellness TV. Today we will talk about spiritual well-being. Simplicity often holds the deepest meaning in how we can manage it with practical solutions and strategies for better mental wellness. Spiritual well-being is a deeply personal and often misunderstood aspect of our overall mental health and happiness. In a world filled with constant noise, distraction, and complexity, many of us overlook the profound power that simplicity holds in nurturing our spirit and mind. Spiritual well-being is not necessarily tied to religion or specific belief systems, but rather it is about feeling connected to something greater than ourselves, finding purpose, meaning, and inner peace. Studies indicate that individuals who cultivate spiritual well-being tend to experience higher levels of life satisfaction, reduce stress, and stronger resilience in the face of challenges. According to a 2022 survey by the American Psychological Association, nearly 60% of adults report that spiritual practices or a sense of spirituality have contributed positively to their mental health. This growing recognition shows that spirituality, in its simplest forms, plays a key role in sustaining mental and emotional balance. To understand the true depth of spiritual well-being, it is helpful to appreciate how simplicity can be transformative. Often, we search for elaborate rituals, complex philosophies, or faraway retreats to find peace and meaning, but the truth is that spiritual fulfillment can be accessed through simple daily actions and awareness. Moments of mindfulness, gratitude, compassionate connection with others, or simply being present in nature can profoundly enrich our spirit. The simplicity in these moments invites us to slow down, observe, and connect with ourselves and the world in an authentic way. It is the subtle, quiet experiences that often hold the deepest significance, reminding us that spirituality is not a destination but a journey rooted in everyday living. To foster spiritual well-being through simplicity, we can adopt several practical strategies. First, we encourage embracing mindfulness, the practice of paying deliberate attention to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness helps us detach from the constant mental chatter and anxieties about past or future, allowing us to ground ourselves in the here and now. Simple breathing exercises, short meditations, or mindful walking can be powerful tools to cultivate this awareness. Next, we suggest cultivating gratitude by regularly acknowledging and appreciating the small blessings and positive experiences in our lives. Keeping a gratitude journal or simply reflecting on what we are thankful for each day shifts our focus from lack to abundance, nurturing a positive mindset. Additionally, creating space for moments of solitude and reflection can help us listen to our inner voice and reconnect with our values and purpose. This does not mean isolating ourselves but rather intentionally finding calm moments amid busy lives to pause and recenter. Building compassionate and authentic relationships is another important aspect of spiritual well-being. We invite you to nurture connections that allow openness, empathy, and mutual support. Simple acts of kindness or honest conversations can deepen our sense of belonging and meaning. Engaging with nature is also a powerful way to experience spiritual renewal. Whether it's a walk in the park, gardening, or simply observing the sky, nature's simplicity and beauty can inspire awe and humility, fostering a feeling of interconnectedness with the world around us. Finally, simplifying our physical environment by decluttering or creating peaceful spaces can reduce mental overwhelm and make it easier to engage in spiritual practices. When our surroundings support calmness and clarity, our inner state often follows suit. In our daily lives, we can begin to integrate these practices by setting small, achievable intentions. For example, starting the day with a minute of mindful breathing, taking time during meals to eat without distractions, or ending the day with gratitude reflections. We encourage you to notice how these simple shifts influence your mood, stress levels, and sense of fulfillment. Engaging with others about these experiences can also reinforce our commitment and provide mutual encouragement. When overwhelmed, returning to the basics of breathing, noticing the present moment, or expressing appreciation can serve as a grounding anchor. It is important to remember that spiritual well-being is a continuous practice rather than a goal to be reached, so patience and self-compassion are essential as we cultivate this dimension of our lives. Scientific research increasingly supports the positive impact of simplicity-focused spiritual practices on mental health. Neuroscientific studies show that mindfulness meditation, even in brief sessions, can alter brain regions associated with emotional regulation and reduce activity in the default mode network, which is linked to rumination and anxiety. Psychological research has found that gratitude practices are associated with decreased depressive symptoms and increased happiness. Furthermore, studies in positive psychology reveal that meaningful social connections and feelings of purpose enhance overall well-being and reduce mortality risk. The field of ecopsychology highlights the restorative effects of nature exposure on stress reduction and cognitive function. These findings provide strong evidence that simplicity and presence are not just abstract ideals but effective pathways to improving our mental and spiritual health. In addition, ancient wisdom traditions from various cultures have long emphasized the importance of simplicity and presence in spiritual growth. From Zen Buddhism's focus on mindfulness and minimalism to Stoicism's teaching on embracing what we can control and finding contentment in simplicity, these philosophies converge on the idea that deep spiritual well-being emerges not from accumulation or complexity but from clarity, acceptance, and connection. Modern science and traditional wisdom together offer a rich foundation for exploring spirituality as an accessible and practical aspect of our lives. As we close today's discussion, we want to affirm the immense value of spiritual well-being and remind ourselves that it is often the simplest things that carry the most profound meaning. By embracing mindfulness, gratitude, connection, and simplicity, we can nurture our mental health and cultivate a rich inner life that supports resilience, joy, and peace. Taking time for self-care in this way honors our whole being, body, mind, and spirit, and contributes to a balanced and fulfilling life. Let us continue to explore these simple yet powerful practices together, creating a community where spiritual well-being is accessible to all. Here we conclude our presentation for today. We encourage you to send us the topics that interest you or concerns you have about mental wellness, so we can address them in future episodes. Your participation helps us tailor the content to what matters most to you and supports our shared journey toward well-being. Together, we can foster a space of learning, growth, and healing. If you'd like to take it a step deeper, feel free to explore our dedicated collections on our website, where you will find specialized resources, expert interviews, and practical guides focusing on spiritual wellness and holistic mental health. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to continuing this meaningful journey with you.